Ladies and gentlemen, lovers of war, traders of great renown, I, the strategic Indian, bid you welcome to my channel, where our motto is think, practice thinking. If you like the content, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment, which will greatly help with the almighty YouTube algorithm. From the wrath of the Northmen, O Lord, deliver us, they prayed. Across the empire, the emperor decreed that we pray to the old gods of the Roman world, to Neptune, to Jupiter, to Mars. They prayed. They prayed for the safety of the empire. At Camulodunum, they did not have that luxury. Trenches were being dug, embankments made higher, sandbags carefully stacked. The navy has increased the frequency of the drills to 3 per week. The garrison regularly sends out scouts to our nearby ambushing army about enemy movements, while any grain that can be spared is carted out in the dead of the night to this army, which has to help deliver Camulodunum from the clasps of the dreaded Northmen. So who are these people who inspire such great dread amongst our children, womenfolk, and stout-hearted legionaries alike? The Northmen are Nords, or as more popularly known as today as Vikings. Their chief tribe, the Geats, have been sighted near our territorial waters, and scouts even speak about an even more dangerous fleet of Jutes accompanying them. We previously involved these two tribes in a petty dispute in the past, but they have put aside their differences to come for their common enemy, us. Our beautiful cities, its wide avenues, toiling masses, and soon to be brimming banks are their target. Their target is our weak and undefended. However, undefended they are not, forgotten they are not. The garrison fleet and our hidden assets have promised upon the sacred flame in the capital of Rome to attain victory over these Northmen. The emperor receives weekly reports about Camulodunum, writing back words of quiet camaraderie and requests fortitudes in the face of this gigantic storm. As we speak, our armies are being readied to take the fight to the Northmen. Camulodunum cannot keep winning against the Northmen if the base of the Vikings stand. The fight shall therefore be taken to them and their capitals burned. For now, the garrison at Camulodunum waits. The storm comes, and may the emperor steady our hands and our shields deflect their blows. The Geats are one of the most aggressive factions of the Total War Attila roster. They will consistently raise armies and fleets, appearing where you are least prepared for them. Unfortunately for them, we are prepared at Camulodunum. Our admiral will take out their admiral. We place one garrison Roman light marines on the left of our admiral to take out another enemy ship. However, the main importance of this unit is to buy time for our admiral to finish his job. Since we expect their navy to come in from the left of the battlefield, we have to delay their ships from reaching our admiral and taking him out. Our projectile ships are placed far to the right and will try to take out as many ships as they can. Priority will be given to axes and swords, their anti-infantry infantry. As soon as we sink their general, we will attempt to land. We cannot fight their navy, and this fleet and garrison needs to be in top conditions, as Jutes will be gunning for us in the next turn.
Battle group awaiting orders.
We ensure both that our cohorts and our committancy spears are in testudo to take out their cavalry, and immediately we send our admiral after the ships, and the Roman light marine on the left Let's see how much damage it can do. There we can see the fleet is coming in. A very competent and very capable fleet. And we group our horses together and bring them forward to help support our garrison, and our main army is also going to move into the stronghold. So always keep an eye on your general, make sure that he snares their general, because often they miss their target and then their general is able to land. The point is that that general is not going to land. We start firing with our projectiles. They will not try to board our ships because they are mainly going to try to land. As soon as you see a fire icon on one of their ships, that means that ship has caught fire. And if they are not very close to the shore, then they shan't be able to land. So yeah, we got the X unit, a very dangerous unit. That's one of the most dangerous units early game for the Romans. So we'll now try to take out their Nordic bands as much as we can. The Nordic bands are really a pain unit because it's not a very good unit, but it can fight your combatant spears very well and your cohorts very well, and it comes with a lot of projectiles. So it comes with 2 spears that it can throw, 2 javelins that it can throw. So you really can't go and charge them with cavalry also, because they have a little bit of a defense against cavalry. So early on, this unit is pretty difficult to take out. Right, so one more ship has caught fire. We are trying to take out that Nordic band. We are going to move our projectiles, reloading as we go. So this will get very hectic very fast. So one of our Roman light marines has destroyed one of their ships, and we'll immediately tell him to move while trying to buy time for our admiral. That's it. Yes, our artillery ship sank one of their Nordic warbands, so we tell them to shoot at another warband while we try to move towards their ships with our bow ships. So our bow ships are moving much slower because they are reloading their ammunition. There, we got the general, perfect. So this army will have quite a lot of debuff. We can see that their marines are coming in for our admiral. So we send in our sacrificial Roman light marine to intercept, giving time for our general to get away. Right, the ships have almost won. Yeah, so I have to check how my admiral is doing. He is returning back to his ship. Their admiral is dead, so I don't really care much. There, on the land side, you can see that their cavalry immediately went for our cohorts, because our cohorts don't do as well against horses. So we are going to send in our hidden assets to support our cohorts. Our ships are continuing to fire.
Nothing remains of this unit now.
Our artillery is donating their projectiles as fast as they can. I try to keep my projectiles away from their bows and their troll skirmishers. Oh, troll skirmishers, yeah, that is a special unit of pain. Man, troll skirmishers are like I would rather face a Hunnic army than a troll skirmisher army. That one army, even if you have horse superiority, will really dominate. I don't know what it is about them. They've got really good morale. They can fight against horses unless they take a very devastating charge. So often you won't be able to charge them as well, because their skirmish mode will be triggered, so they'll be running away from you. So your charges will be quite ineffectual, and then whenever you do manage to get off a charge, they will fight very well, and then the units which are next to it will be peppering your archers and your cavalry and your infantry, while they are going to be able to hold their ground. So yeah, troll skirmishers are a special breed of headache. So here I'm repositioning my horses. I'm trying to find the nice place of a blob of projectiles of theirs where my cavalry can blow. So I don't go towards where the Nordic bands are, because then they throw their projectiles and then they can really devastate my horses. So the priority will be given to the left flank of this unit which has landed. And I'm also landing my archers, because the reason for that is my ship archers, they can't stay on water for too long because that navy of theirs is coming. So the main use of this of my bow ships, which are now on foot, is to continuously move them towards their units which have landed. And if they're projectile units, then the skirmish mode will be triggered, and then they won't be able to fire, and it will just cause disruption. Right, so I see clear opportunity now, so I send in my cavalry to charge. Their Nordic band has moved on. I'm repositioning my bows, and now I'm going to do something which is the worst button that you can click in the history of Total War Attila. I dismounted my horses. Yeah, I dismounted my horses. I clicked on the dismount, so I remount them. So that's what they're doing right now. This is terrible. If these javelins understood what was going on, they would have pelted both of my horses. It's just that their archers noticed what was going on, and then they started firing. But archers are not don't have that much damage. They have 50-ish damage, and javelins can go to 100 plus damage. So my scout equities managed to get back on their horses. This was terrible. I had both my hands on my heads while recording this. Like, my god, in the thick of battle, yeah, this is really what you don't want. Luckily, that's why it's really important we landed our bow units, because they kept on moving towards these archers and their javelins and prevented them from firing, because then both of these horse units of mine would have been completely dissolved. This is really terrible click. Terrible click. Right, one of the their general has landed, but I won't start firing yet, because I want to give priority to their Nordic bands and also save ammunition for when their actual fleet lands, because there will be axe units in there, there will be their marines in there, Nordic marauders or whatever they're called. Right, so they've formed a very nice blob for our cavalry to charge. So I'm sending our cavalry in a flank. So one of them will hold their cavalry in place, while the other one is going to try to hit it from the back. So now I start firing against their Nordic warbands. I open my cohorts up to fire their projectiles. Meanwhile, my Admiral and the Roman light marines are moving towards my stronghold, and the artillery ship, which has run out of ammunition, that is landed, because I don't want to lose that ship to their navy, and that will start mopping up some units which have been run. Their Nordic bands are running. These are pretty trash troops, but you know, situationally they are really good. It's just that the situation gives them a lot of advantages. Because of this projectiles that they have, and the numbers, the sheer numbers that the Geats make these units, Nordic bands and troll skirmishers, they will just come with a bunch of them and like not explain themselves. How can one faction with one city maintain two armies full of them, you know, and just sit there and continue to make these armies very cost efficient? And that's how the Western Roman Empire, when the AI plays them, that's how they lose. The AI basically just continuously simulates a fight where a bunch of these troll skirmishers with their very high melee defense just goes up and crushes these Roman armies that they make. And yeah, the Roman empires just collapse. Right, so we're moving our bow units into the stronghold. So I make sure that they don't enter into melee. All their units from the army which had landed has more or less dissolved. I'm putting my bow ships on the ramparts to start firing. The army which came in is going in to cover both of the entrances into the stronghold. I make sure that they are a bit rested up because yeah, these poor guys, they had to run the whole battlefield, entering from the far right hand side, and they ran like 2 or 3 kilometers to come and have a fight. A dedication. That's okay. Right. Our general has also entered into the stronghold. I'm gonna make sure he's in Testudo, and our admiral is also safe. Now we can see that everybody is wavering. There we go. Chain round. Chain round. Because here the navy realize that now they don't have the numbers, because navies cannot fight against Roman land troops, and their general of the land army was killed very early on. So yeah, they got the worst of both worlds, and that's it. They dissolve. Our aim is to make sure that this navy and this army survives, because they don't have much imperium. They hold one city. That's why I love to do this is total war, because then they don't make these empires with 2 or 3 cities and get 6 or 7 armies which come hurtling down to my borders and make life much more difficult. So now they can maximum make 2 armies and 2 fleets, and if these things are alive, then those slots are still taken up. Right, Jutes, yeah, as we expected, Jutes are now going to come in. Their fleet is going to initiate the attack, while so they don't bring as powerful a fleet as Geats. I have encountered I have seen full fleets come in. So, okay, great. Their army is force marching, so that will be to our advantage. But again, this army has got a gigantic amount of troll skirmishers. So don't take this one lightly. Our strategy in this case will be very, very different. So, our artillery ship is going to take out their general, who's going to come in. Our landed troops are going to immediately land, because our Roman light marines are not going to be able to fight this army. While they will be able to take out their ships which are coming in with a lot of waterborne buffs, they are going to be supported by a gigantic amount of troll skirmishers. As I said, troll skirmishers, I really respect that unit, and they can be quite a headache. So I put the cohorts near the part where most of their troops will be landing, because we'll have to fight. Cohorts are much better at fighting than combatants and spears, which are much better at taking cavalry charges. They don't bring any cavalry to the fight, so that is nice. I place my bows with the bow ships with the back towards the enemy, because what I want them to do is start firing and immediately move away. It will be very difficult, because while reloading they really move very slowly. There we found their general. We tried to do a few shots. This one really, the battlefield jitters.
We will crush the enemy with our greater numbers.
And these ships are just coming in, so they are often orthogonal, so I get very little surface area facing me. So there comes the shot. Yeah, I missed, so I just let the cavalry do its the artillery ship do its magic. I don't try to micromanage it, because I won't be able to do as good a job. Their navy is also coming in. Our army has moved in, so same way we're going to make sure that they enter the stronghold and they get there as fast as possible, because most of this army is going to land, so we will have to fight this army man on man. There we got their general. Now let's try to land. Let's try to get out of this mess, because we have to make sure most of these ships survive. I don't know how well I'll be able to do, because their troll skirmishers will be throwing their projectiles, their Nordic bands will be throwing their projectiles, and my ships won't be moving as fast because they're reloading. There, we got the notification right now that their general is dead, because it takes a bit of time. So I already noticed that their ship is sinking, but until that general swims and stops swimming and drowns, we don't get the notification. This is really fortunate. I mean, because of this DLC structure that CA and Sega is doing, that only the Danes get the bonus that they don't get affected by being seaborne, by being waterborne. But the rest of the two Nordic factions don't get that. You would expect that all the Nordic factions would be fantastic on water, but that's not the case. You have only the Danes who are always able to perform great on water and on land. They don't get the debuff from being waterborne. But the Danes get eliminated early on because they start out at war with multiple factions, just like the Varanians. The Varanians, I think, have one of the most difficult starts, along with Western Roman Empire, the Khassanids. Khassanids, my god, they start out at war with one city against the entire Sassanid Empire. I don't know what I would do fighting as the Sassanids, fighting as the Khassanids, because you can't even migrate. It's a land faction, so it can't even migrate. So their javelins did a lot of damage to our bow ships. Only one faction survived. Our artillery ship sank. We'll have to live with it because we'll have to take on mercenaries to protect Camulodunum, because the Viking factions can quickly make armies and come up. So now we'll start mopping up as and when they land. So we have two troll skirmishers who have landed. I don't want these guys to fire. So I tried to do a hammer and anvil on the Nordic band, but I decided against it. It's better to take out their troll skirmishers because we don't want them to get volleys off on our cohorts, because even if our cohorts are in Testudo, this will be pretty brutal. So we move our marines and our cohorts back, because those troll skirmishers which are coming in on from the water will be able to throw their projectiles. Meanwhile, our troops are moving towards the stronghold. I've not initiated fire with the archers yet. I want to keep the ammunition for this gigantic blob which is yet to land. The one bow unit which has landed, I will try to move him to the stronghold. Well, the main function of that unit is going to be mainly whistling shot, if it can get off a few whistling shots. Right, so we're trying to take out their javelins as they are landing. So often it bugs out that one of their troops don't get off the ship, and then you cannot initiate attacks on that unit. You just can't attack them. So our horses are not able to operate very well, because they're getting caught up in this by these javelins who are able to fire from the sea and those who have landed, while I can't initiate attacks on them. So it's a bit of a pain. Floundering a little bit. I don't want to move my infantry in to help, because then I'll be caught out of position, and that will be tremendously bad. So one of our Nordic raider cav got a bit hammered. Great. Their Nordic band has mercenary wolf has caught up with our competency spears. Again, very dangerous unit. But we have two of our competency spears to help. So these are the units which ran in all the way. So they're pretty tired, but they'll do their job. They have caught the mercenary wolf coats on the flanks, and they won't be doing that well against Roman infantry. Like, one of our cavalry is a bit shot up. Mercenary wolf coats is probably one of the best units that they have
which they inherit because they get that unit from their starting roster. So it's very important that this unit does not survive. Our cavalry is not able to get charges off, so that's why they're struggling a little bit. And again, the thrall skirmishers are a dangerous unit. Really respect that unit because they are that competent against cavalry, and that's what you bring against skirmisher units. You would think that cavalry is going to melt them, but they stand their ground very well. So I open my archers to start firing because I have to whittle down the numbers as they come in. I keep my admiral behind the walls because the javelins of theirs, so the thrall skirmishers, they cannot fire at an arc. They will fire in a parabola parallel to the ground. So if you're hidden behind walls, then they technically see you, but they throw their projectiles, but there is the wall in between, and they won't be able to hit you. Right, so I don't make our general run towards the stronghold anymore because he's tired and their Nordic bands have moved into position, so I keep them well back, protected by a tower, while I try to form a little bit of a cul-de-sac for our infantry on the left hand side of our stronghold, so that we'll be able to take on their units as they are coming in. Their infantry has noticed our cavalry, so one of these spear units are consistently going to try to attack us. So there comes our Nordic band. See how smart they are. They immediately go inside this stronghold for our archers because that side is open. AI is really competent. That's what makes Attila so enjoyable. You really are up against a unit which can think on its feet. It can make decisions and really give you a very pleasurable experience.
The whole unit has been destroyed.
Archers are continuing to fire. These units don't have as much armor. Our bow ship unit got caught up by this Nordic band. That bow unit really had a bad day. The whole day it first got shot up by their thrall skirmishers. Then it had to lose all its brothers in fighting. Gigantic moral debuff. They had to run all the way into the city. They ran into the stronghold, and then they got caught up by this weak Nordic band. And well, thanks a lot. They did their job. They did a fantastic job. The best job they could do under the circumstances. So I moved my Roman light marines to hit their Nordic bands on the back because it's being held in place very nicely by our infantry. I charge their thrall skirmishers. I dislike these charges because I am under my own tower, and then I get a lot of friendly fire. Attila towers are really painful for that reason, that they don't do as well when they have to kill any unit of the enemy, but they do very well when when the enemy has to fire on your troops. That unit has dissolved. I'll try to take out as many thrall skirmishers because that's how much visceral dislike I have for these units. So the other cavalry has brought all the units which are running away to below 10 members, so they can be brought back towards the city. Then once engaged, then their Nordic bands don't do as well, but on its own, very dangerous. Right, we have a gigantic blob forming, and their axe unit admiral is coming in, and that will be quite competent against our Roman infantry if it is able to close. So we'll do a hammer and anvil. So on the left hand side of our stronghold, we move our infantry into a nice enticing position for their general. Right, Let's go in for hammer and anvil. Here comes our scout equites, the most useful unit for the Western Roman Empire. Let's see the charge from the perspective of the Roman Marines, which are holding them in place. Beautiful charge, and the Thrall skirmishers were throwing their javelins, but they have their own troops towards their back, so then they got a lot of friendly fire. I moved my archers from the ramparts of the stronghold, and I'm going to put them on the ramparts again because those Thrall skirmishers are unable to fire on them when they are hidden behind the walls in this manner. Right, our cavalry is doing work, but the Nordic raider cavalry is still getting shot up by our own towers because they have not been able to take out our towers. Their ex-admiral has engaged our comitatency spears, so that will be giving them a very, very bad day. Now we'll reposition our arch cavalry constantly because this spear unit is really on a mission to try to take out our horses. So we'll have to make sure that our cavalry is able to operate freely because the battle is still not over. They have a lot of infantry superiority. They have a lot of skirmishers who are still able to throw their projectiles. Right, so we formed a little bit of a cul-de-sac for their general, but this exposes our general too because his back is now open, and you can see one of the Thrall skirmishers are coming in. Luckily, it's a Thrall skirmisher, not a Nordic band. Even if they are weak units, when they attack Roman infantry towards the back, they can be quite troublesome. So I'll now have a lot of troops from the right flank of the stronghold freed up, and they'll move towards the left flank to support because we don't have as many troops on that side. Our general is in a lot of trouble because he's now being attacked on the back by all of these units. So this is a bit of a mission critical. Really, the general is not doing very well. Right, their admiral is running because so now I'll ask the general to turn around and attack these projectiles which have come into melee with them. So the general will be able to perform much better. It was really, I think, critical for their general to be running at this stage. If that admiral of theirs kept on performing with their axes, it would be pretty bad. They mostly lost their troops thanks to our own towers. The admiral is not doing very well against the tower.
The wind is at our backs, and victory calls.
So I'll mop up because I don't want their powerful units to survive, while I want their navy and their their fleets completely sank. Okay, I need to go take a nap. After this I need to take a 12-hour nap.
This has been the Strategic Indian, signing out.